Hamlet,
we were asked
trying
to
to
spy, and then also
that's when he's doing Hamlet with Harkness to like spy.
and then there's one with Max where you were like
already that he's
really
like
like
stopped
yeah about
like with his father's death and everything.
that's basically
like,
when
she's
she's
talking
talking
to
Hamlet
him.
in her room.
Get on
Yeah,
way, I guess.
She's like, oh, you're not coming, okay, go hide. So like she knows it, but she's not thinking about it.
Yeah.
But like she's not
Yeah,
doing
because
anything
I think he's like trying to give like justify why this magazine is not mad about it. I don't think
If you have switched, yeah, switch, so make sure everybody has a chance to share.
I'm reading it, so like Hamlet was
so
basically just like, alright, good night, mom. She just like drags the dead body out.
acting crazy, so like people will reveal stuff to him, and also like the play is kind of
So I
a way of spying
like
because he's like looking for
different interactions, like
Claudius's reaction to it to like figure out what's going on.
when Hamlet's talking to
Way to do that.
her, but also then tries to
About 30 more
other
seconds.
people up first
Yep.
to see them. So yeah, and he does that with to like the player.
Okay, thank you. So, starting out with this idea of recognizing, who found a character who's not affected by spying? Can you think of a character who is not affected by spying? Everybody is, right? And so what the question is, why do these characters spy on each other? What is going on here in this? So you've all had a little chance to think about a character and their relationship. And I'm just going to invite somebody to start what you think is what's going on with all the spying from your character's perspective.
For me playing Hamlet, I felt like he is like suspicious of everyone or skeptical of everyone. So this kind of means that the way that he's approaching things is acting like everyone's spying on him, but also trying to spy on everybody else, which sounds exhausting. But like, so in one instance, I had on page 133, line 154, or like about 154. He had kind of been like, not buttering Ophelia up, but just like taking different approaches to see how she would react as he's talking to her. And let me see where it starts. So he starts off with this, big speech, and then it's actually on 129 at line 100 when Ophelia says, "Good day, my lord. How does your honor for this many a day?" And he says, "I humbly thank you. Well." So it starts off nice and kind and not like kind of like a like polite or like small talk, but then changes and transitions into page 133, line 154, when he talks about her having two faces. He said, "I have heard of your paintings too well enough. God hath given you one face, and you make yourselves another." As he continues on, like kind of rambling, but he's so skeptical of someone that he later admits that he was in love with, but now can't. So that was one big thing where I feel like he's pushing himself away from so many people that he's losing love, and is like just trying to seek revenge or justice, whichever you want to call it.
Through spying.
Mm-hmm. And eventually like killing the king.
You had Hamlet too.
Yeah. I kind of like had a different thought. I related spying more to like meta theater because he's spying by like acting a certain way, by like acting mad. He's getting people to reveal stuff to him and just like kind of seeing a bigger picture. And then also he is putting on the play kind of as a way to spy on Claudius to see his reaction to it, to like find out the truth. So that's kind of appearance versus reality too. And then I picked up like a quote that wasn't really like overtly spying, but he's like telling either Guildenstern or Rosencrantz to play the recorder, and he's like, "It's as easy as lying," which is like, oh, lying is easy, and like spying. And he's saying it's easier than telling the truth, but he's also like kind of lying to find the truth.
Can you tell us where in the text that is?
It's Act 3, Scene 2, line 385, I didn't write down the page. It's on page 159.
What was it, 159?
Yeah.
So I think it's really interesting that you're pointing us to this part about the recorders, which everybody remembers what a recorder is, right? Can you read to us this little part that?
Yeah, basically Guildenstern's like, I don't want to play the recorder. And Hamlet's like, but I want you to. And then he says, it's as easy as lying. Govern these vintages with your fingers and thumb. Give it breath with your mouth. And it will discourse most eloquent music. Look you, these are the stops. So, yeah, it's interesting that he says, like, it's as easy as lying. This is eloquent music.
But I feel like for Guildenstern and Rosencrantz, lying isn't that easily, because like Hamlet quickly saw right through them when they were trying to spy on
Well, they're
him.
like not as smart as
Yeah, they're
him.
just kind of stupid, so
Yeah.
I guess that has something to do with it, but.
I feel like they're good at like keeping face. Like when they were talking to the king and queen, like, yeah, no, of course we'll spy on Hamlet. But yeah, so I think they're good at like, maybe it's lying to themselves instead of other people. Because they'll say, no, yeah, like we can do that, or even though that they basically have to because it's the king and queen. But I get what you're saying, because Hamlet's the smartest one in the room.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of his way of saying like, oh, I'm on to you.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah, so I'm Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. So, yeah, Emma sort of started this, but basically, like, they have no choice to spy on Hamlet because the king and queen ordered them to. We sort of talked about this last class, but I thought what Emma was saying was interesting about them sort of lying to themselves almost, about, like, almost telling themselves that they have a choice about whether they're doing this or not, but they really don't. They have to do it. But back in Act 2 when they first, when the king and queen first asked them to spy on Hamlet, which is page 83, I believe, it's pretty, like, almost casual talk. Like the king and queen, the queen says, your visitation shall receive such thanks as fit a king's remembrance, and it's almost as if the king and queen are making it seem like it's a choice for them, and like, oh, thank you for the favor you're doing for us, when it's really an order and they have no choice.
Yeah, I like what you said about, like making them believe that they have a choice. Because I feel like they're all trying to be like happy or find joy in what they're doing, but I feel like a lot of them are caught in some pretty tough situations, especially later when like the queen sees what Hamlet does, yet she stays silent because she wants to protect her son. That she could think that she has the choice to do that, but you know, yeah.
I think that, like, she does want to protect her son, but then at the same time, like, I don't know, I guess she's sort of torn too, because I talked about how she doesn't, like, directly spy on people, but she just lets it happen. So, when Polonius is going to spy on Hamlet, when he's going to Gertrude's room to talk with her, there's a section where he's talking with the queen, and then the queen's like, oh, Polonius, go hide, and Hamlet's on his way up. So, like, she knows that he's spying on her son, and she doesn't stop it or anything.
Yeah, that's what I meant by kind of like sticky situation.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Polonius.
You're dead.
Yeah.
Die.
Sorry about that.
I think Hamlet should be.
Yeah, right, my bad.
That was one of the instances I had when he was spying. You could see it when he was telling Claudius that he was going to spy on 165. He says, my lord, he's going to his mother's closet. Behind the arras I'll convey myself to hear the process. I'll warrant she'll tax him home, and then I'll call upon you ere you go to bed and tell you what I know. And then you could could also see when he was spying when he's like, "What ho?" and then Hamlet kills him.
Smart guy.
And then another instance I had was when he was spying on Ophelia with the king, page 127. When he was just like, "I hear him coming, let's withdraw, my lord," to see like whether Hamlet's madness was like caused by his love for Ophelia or if it's something else, which is important because then they find like that something kind of strange is happening because he's not in love with Ophelia. And then I also had a third one. He's not doing the direct spying, but it was in Act 2 when he hires someone to go spy on his son because he's concerned with how his son is making the family look. So he sends a servant to go see what his son is up to.
Do you think he's the center of spying, Alex? I mean, you just cited 3 separate spying incidents.
So
So,
like he's close to the king, so the king wants to know like what's up with Hamlet, but then he's also like focused on his own self and how his family appears to everyone else. So he has to spy to make sure his son isn't like ruining the family name.
Yeah.
We also self-interest.
Like when we talked about how he's almost not smart enough to
Yeah.
be able to get the information in a better way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like with Claudius, for him, I just had like the same instance when they were spying on Hamlet and Ophelia, and also in Act 2, but like Polonius, while Claudius is basically only spying on people in his own family, like Hamlet pretty much, Polonius is also spying, he's spying on his son, he's also concerned with Ophelia, so I just feel like he's concerned about more of the characters than like Claudius or any of the other characters are.
Yeah, I feel like for Polonius, like he spies sort of to like, he focuses on appearances, like he wants to make sure his family looks good, and also, like for Hamlet, he's like, well, if I spy on him and find out he is crazy, then we'll send him to England because we don't want this crazy man. And then Hamlet spies to like uncover the truth, which is sort of different.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that it was like, it's like private agenda versus like public agenda, like, Polonius is like spying for like the public, I guess, yeah. Hamlet's trying to be like, do it for like the good of the people almost, but then Polonius is like trying to spy for like the good of himself and his family, well, his family, more like his image. It's not really for his family. And I had Ophelia, and there was a lot of like situations where Polonius was like using her to spy on Hamlet because like they're in love, and like so I had, my example was like page 79, which is like pretty early, but like when she's telling him about all of the about the like how Hamlet was being like kind of like mad and like crazy, and then Polonius is like using her and using the information he's gathered, and on page 89 he's like telling the queen about it and is like exposing Hamlet and like, yeah.
Earlier you said that Hamlet was spying for the good of the people. Do you think that he's spying, like he's using spying for selfish or selfless reasons?
I think both. I think that like he it's like obviously like for the good, I mean like kind of for the good of the people because like they have a corrupt king, but like it's like also for the good of himself because like his father has been murdered and like he wants to figure out the truth for himself.
I think that he's doing it more just because he feels like he has to because of obedience, like rather than for the good of himself or for the people, because like the ghost of his dead father told him he had to do it, and then he was like, oh, I should probably do it.
Yeah, like if it wasn't for the ghost, he wouldn't have come to that conclusion
Yeah,
by himself.
yeah.
Also, like, he comes up with, like, excuses of why not to do it. Like, when he had the opportunity to kill Claudius, he's like, oh, if I do it while he's praying, he's gonna go to heaven. I can't do that. And turns out he wasn't even praying, so.
Yeah, it
He's
seems
like, I'll just wait until he's doing something bad.
Yeah, it seems
He
like
lists off a
he's-
bunch of, like, very specific things.
yeah,
Getting cold.
He's like not morally like sure if that's the right thing to do, but he feels like he has to because of obedience. Yeah, obedience.
with Horatio, who's my character, it's Act 3, Scene 2, line 85 is where I had my first quote. And it's where he's asking Horatio to spy on his uncle during the play. He said, "Observe my uncle. If his occulted guilt do not itself unkennel in one speech, it is a damned ghost that we have seen, and my imaginations are as foul as Vulcan's stithy. Give him heedful note, for mine eyes will rivet to his face, and after we will both our judgments join in censure of his scene." And Horatio agrees, but he's basically saying, we're going to use this to watch my uncle, and if he acts strangely during the murder of the king, he'll know that he did kill his father. So he's using spying to make sure he doesn't do something immoral.
It's almost like justification.
Yeah,
for his
so he
actions.
doesn't kill someone for no reason. But
I feel like,
he
yeah.
does end up
He
doing
kills
that.
Right, so I feel like that's just more peace of mind for him than anything. But I like the way that he talked about since he is the smartest one in the room, I feel like he also thinks about the consequences more than other people.
Definitely.
And how it not only will affect other people what he does, but how it will affect him and if he can live with himself, because I feel like, I don't know, he's just smart enough to not be oblivious to what he did or what he
But
will
then also he kills Polonius
right.
on
But
accident.
he did
because-
think Polonius was the king.
But he didn't.
Right.
But he could have been more careful
Yeah.
about that.
I wonder if he's actually
A lot
going
more
crazy.
careful. If
think
he's
he
actually
kind
going
of
mad.
Yeah,
No,
if he's
I
like
think-
too into
I
his
feel
like
like he's so
character.
into
Right,
it.
Because I was like,
Yeah.
it seems like he's not acting anymore.
The placebo.
I don't know if it's like he's like too into his character, but the whole situation's like actually making him mad.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
like finding out that your uncle like killed your father is like,
Right, or the obedience to, yeah.
Well, I
to
mean,
your
don't
father
you?
who's dead or the king, which is a lot.
Do you think someone who's in their right mind would say, "Oh, I'm gonna pretend to be mad so I can somehow justify actions I might"?
Also,
go
he
through with?"
he doesn't trust anyone. He doesn't feel like he can have anyone to help him, and I think
That's
that's
so
loneliness, and that'll
The only person that he trusts is Horatio.
Yeah, I was just
because he does end up telling
Yeah.
Horatio what the ghost said, which is a pretty big thing because he's kept it quiet, and the first chance he had, he didn't tell Horatio. So something definitely changed to make him want to tell somebody.
Right,
And
but
that's-
still, even if he's I don't know, planning, he can't give it away to anybody, and just in case it gets back to the king. So I think that'd be a really hard thing to decide in the first place.
What does it do to Hamlet? I'm interested in Willa saying she's beginning to wonder if Hamlet is acting crazy or if Hamlet actually is crazy. Is that a result of his spying or just the moral complexity of the situation that he's in, do you think? Does spying play into that?
I think so. I think it's probably both. I really liked what Sarah Kate said about how he feels like he can't trust anyone, because I think that can definitely drive a person to insanity if you're I can trust no one with this information. And then also just how depressed he was. And also I feel like smart people kind of have a tendency to be eccentric and a little on the crazy side, and it's a fine line. So we might have crossed that line.
Yeah, I think it's him being spied on a lot and knowing he's spied on that affects that, because he has Guildenstern and Rosencrantz, two of his close scholars, are brought, and Ophelia, are brought in to spy on him and are used to figure out what he's doing, and he knows that. And I think that definitely affects his mental state, because he feels like people around him who he used to love or trust are now just going to be obedient to the king and queen and don't respect
The eyes are on.
the connections that they used to
Yeah,
have.
it's kind of forced isolation. So
Yeah.
he doesn't really have anyone he can turn to.
I think.
I
I also think another thing that's like affecting his mental health is how aware of his situation he is, because he kind of knows he's a character in a play and he can't get out of it. Because there's like that one scene where he was describing like the theater, and like there's all the other instances of like meta theater. He knows what's going on, but he can't get out of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that him going crazy also connects to meta theater because like he knows he's like exactly what he said. Like he knows he's playing this part. And he's like also is physically playing a part. So and he's like suicidal. So
And yeah, in that situation, being a character in a play, like that's both his appearance and his reality, and he can't distinguish between that.
Wow. That hurts over here.
Yeah.
yeah.
Are there other characters who are affected by this? I mean, I think you've uncovered really well how spying and this sense of distrust has affected Hamlet. Are there other characters who are being affected in a similar way by the act of this entire court spying on each other?
I feel like Claudius kind of, because he really wants to figure out what's going on, and he's almost seems like desperate to have like try and find all these different like things to grab onto, like people to use to spy on Hamlet and figure it out. And I mean, he hasn't come up with much, like he hasn't figured it out. So I feel like that hasn't affected him.
Coming in a little short.
I also thought like maybe even the ghost, like King Hamlet, because he, now that like all of this spying, it sort of like originally started when Hamlet, they were spying to try and find out what actually happened to him, and then it just like all this other stuff started happening, and people were spying on people for other reasons, and then like there's a part in Act 3 where the ghost like comes back while Hamlet is, I'm not sure if I can find like the page, but where the ghost comes back when Hamlet's talking with his mom, and he's like, don't forget like the whole reason this started, like you're trying to get justice for me. It's like sort of frustrating.
177, I think.
Yeah.
Save me and hover over me with your wings, you heavenly guards, with your gracious figure.
And then he says, the ghost says, like, Hamlet's yelling at his mom, and he says, do not forget, this visitation is but to whet thy almost blunted purpose. But look amazement on thy mother sits, O step between her and her fighting soul, conceit and weakest body, strongest works, speak to her, Hamlet.
How do you interpret that line? This visitation is but to whet thy almost blunted purpose. What is that about?
To remind you like why you're doing this, because he's lost track of what the purpose of his spying was. So the ghost's like, oh, you're actually like trying to get revenge.
Right, like give him a goal to strive towards, because I feel like Sarah Kate said, this idea of loneliness is really apparent in what he has to go through because he feels like he can't trust anyone with this big task. So having a reassurance, even if it is from a ghost, I feel like is good. It's kind of like a hey, keep your eye on the prize type thing. You know, it's like reassuring, and that I don't know. I don't know. It's like a ghost. It's like you got it, dude.
It like helps him kind of, because like now he's talking to what the queen sees as nothing, and so like that furthers his like plea of madness, and so then the queen's like, okay, I won't say anything because like you're obviously actually messed up. So really it helped him in the end. The ghost kind of saved him in that aspect.
I think the queen is like really affected by all the spying, because like with her it's also like a struggle with obedience, because should she like